Peace and blessings to you all. Greetings, family and friends. We have a beautiful lesson this week. It's entitled Surprised by Grace. And grace goes without saying, is something that you and I received that we didn't do anything to deserve it. And we also can testify that grace indeed is our best friend, because without grace, none of us would have been here. So grace benefits us all. We have a beautiful lesson this week centered on Hebrews 11 verse 31. It says, by faith the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe, when she had received the spies with peace. So if you had a chance to review, to study the lesson, wow, wonderful job, because this is what will remind you that God is still giving second chances and his promise still stands still today. So we all can benefit from this lesson. As I said before, this is not a lesson for a particular group, but it's a lesson for all of us. All of us can strengthen our faith by reading these lessons. So throughout this whole lesson here, we saw that how the people had received grace to the promised land. They blew it, but God giving them a second chance to the promised land by appointing Joshua, a leader, to help them, to lead them to this promised land. And also, so Rahab, a prostitute in Jericho, had also received grace, a second chance, and was not perished with her people who did not believe, who had rejected God. But she had received a second chance to continue to live and be part of this big family. Now, what you need to understand with this lesson here, and so many times that we tend to think that we're not good enough to come to God. We're not good enough to have faith. We're not good enough to believe. We sometimes want to have all our act together, all our dirt clean, when in fact that's not the case at all. The lesson taught us something very important, so meaningful that hearing it, we all should have joy, because the lesson taught us that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to get it all together before we can come to God and believe and have faith and be willing to be God's big family. Now, Rahab, although a prostitute, living a lifestyle that's not pleasing to God, but God saw beyond the lifestyle. God saw Rahab's heart. Rahab believed in the God of Israel, and to a point that risked her life, put her life, her family's life in danger, rejected all the mess that her people were doing, and to shelter the spies just because she believed. It's a very important lesson, because I just told us that God sees the heart. And God also told us that through this lesson that his values in unexpected places. Who would have thought that a prostitute would find favor in the eyes of God? Who would have thought something like that? Now, despite your lifestyle, what you're doing, it's not too late. And this is the assurance that through this lesson, we're able to see another side of God, the goodness of God, his grace and mercy, his forgiveness, all that through this lesson. Now, because of Rahab's heart, because of what she did, she completely surrendered to the God of Israel. She was saved and benefit from the same way that the Israelites in Egypt, when the last plague that will strike all the firstborn of Egypt, and they were instructed to mark the doorposts and the lintels with blood, the sacrificial blood. It's the same way. It's parallel. It's the same way with Rahab. She believed and she received that grace, that second chance, and she was saved. Not just her, but her and her family. So the question is, do you believe? If you believe, yes, you will be saved. Yes, you will have second chance. So the question is simple. Do you believe? do you have faith? And that's what the lesson reminding us again, that if you have faith, the same grace that the people had received back then, we are able to receive the same grace again today. What intrigued me the most about this lesson, perhaps my intrigue you as well, why that Joshua had to send spies? Because God promised, it's a gift, it's already given. So God promised the people, took them out of Egypt. It promised them a land flowed with milk and honey. Although they all perished in the wilderness except Caleb and Joshua. And of course the new generation that was born later on, 40 years later, they were able to see the promised land. But why that Joshua still had to send spies, explorers to explore the place? Now, it took me years and years to understand that, and I'm sure some of you probably feel the same way. To me, it was back then, my understanding was it was a lack of faith. So if God bless us, and we're supposed to act on it and go ahead and grab what God already given to us. But this lesson taught us something, that despite that we are blessed, we receive grace, second chance, that doesn't mean that we should just sit with our arms crossed. It still requires a level of responsibility. It still requires us to do a certain thing, not to earn the grace, not to earn the second chance, but it requires us to put ourselves in a situation for God to bless us with what He had already promised to us. And that, my friends, it's something that you and I need to understand. So we need to do our part as far as stay connected, meditate in His promise, meditate in His word, meditate and try to follow His teaching and believe and accept the call and accept the responsibility. We have to do that part. That is not exempt from it. So overall, that was the lesson. Hope that you are blessed this week with the lesson, and hope that you understand that despite your situation, God's still willing to give you a second chance, and God still can favor you and find value in whatever situation, place that you are currently is right now. So this is what I got out of this lesson, and please read it and please study, meditate on that, and hopefully you find something that resonates with you as well and throughout the lesson. So overall, hope that you are blessed, and I'll see you in the next lesson. God bless you.